Dear students, this is part 3 of biogeochemical cycles. पहले 2 लेक्चर्स में हमने गैसियस साइकिल्स दैट इज कार्बन, नाइट्रोजन एंड ऑक्सीजन के बारे में पढ़ा. In this lecture, we are going to describe phosphorus and sulfur cycle. Phosphorus cycle. Phosphorus is an element on the earth and is present in water, soil and sediments. Phosphorus is not present in the atmosphere and hence lacks an atmosphere component in the cycle, making the cycle endogenic. The availability of phosphorus in soil is very limited, and this is the reason for application of phosphate fertilizers to enhance plant growth. Animals and humans obtain phosphorus through the food chain from plants and plant-eating animals. Phosphorus is an essential nutrient for the animal and plants. It is a constituent of protoplasm and DNA with a major role in cell development and energy storage as ATP. Cycling of phosphorus. Biogeochemical cycling of phosphorus through living and non-living element of the earth is called phosphorus cycle. Phosphorus is a limited nutrient commonly found in nature as orthophosphates. Its limitedness in the environment makes the cycle more crucial. Unlike carbon, the reservoir of phosphorus is rocks where deposition occurred for ages. They are found associated with materials in the rocks. Hydroxyapatite, a calcium phosphate, is the major reservoir of phosphate in the soil. Over the period of time, the geological process causes withering and erosion of rocks containing phosphate ions and releases it into the soil and water bodies. Most of the phosphorus is lost to the sea where it gets deposited in the deep sediments. The marine organisms uplift the phosphorus in the sediments and reintroduce it into the cycle. The cycling of phosphorus from sea to land is comparatively slower due to the loss of fish and other marine creatures for food and industrial purpose. The phosphorus enters into the plant through absorption of phosphate ions from the soil and is carried to the animals via the food chain. After the consumption, phosphate is assimilated into the ATP, nucleotides and other organic molecules, bones and biological membranes in the form of phospholipids of the animals and man. After the death and decay of plants and animals, these phosphates are released into the environment again. The organic forms of phosphate within the soil are provided to the plants by the bacteria which break down organic matter into inorganic forms of phosphorus through the process called as mineralization. The movement of phosphorus between the living beings and the environment is uneven due to certain reasons. What are those reasons? Phosphorus gets locked up in the bones of organisms, organic detritus and inorganic particles of the sediments. And the second is they are taken in the lakes. The lakes taken up phosphorus at a much faster rate, but it releases it at a very slow rate. These are the two reasons that it is the uneven. This is the reason the movement of phosphorus is uneven. Okay, this is the diagram of phosphorus cycle. It is the figure. Now this figure shows that how phosphorus which is there in rocks is weathered and enters into the water cycle, and how through the water it is taken up by the plants, and from plants it enters into the animals through the food chain, and once again it decomposed and returns back to the soil. Okay, now the impacts of anthropogenic activities on phosphorus cycle. The cycling of phosphorus is slowest among all the biogeochemical cycles. However, the human interferences bring about changes in the cycle. During certain times, the phosphorus available in the soil are locked and made unavailable to plants. This results in excessive use of fertilizers, causing intrusion of phosphate into the soil and water through seepage. Plants may not be able to utilize all the provided phosphate fertilizers. The unused phosphate enters the water bodies through agriculture runoff. The phosphorus once again gets dissolved in ponds and lakes, resulting in algal blooms and eutrophication. Mining of apatite, calcium phosphate, from phosphate rocks for fertilizers and detergent preparation leads to the huge release of phosphate into the soil. Deforestation reduces the availability of phosphorus in soil. Discharge of sewage and other industrial effluents into the water bodies they also disturb the phosphorus cycle. So these are the human activities which disturb the phosphorus cycle. When they are used in excess, they are discharged from sewage into the water body. Once again, it adds to the level of phosphorus of soil and water, and it leads to the eutrophication. Okay, now next is sulfur cycle. Sulfur is a yellow, odorless, non-metallic element found in the earth crust. It is an important constituent of protein and vitamin, playing a vital role in protein and enzyme functioning in plants and animals. Sulfur is present naturally in the earth crust, water bodies and atmosphere. Sulfur primarily occurs in the earth's crust in the form of gypsum, Ca, that is calcium sulfate, and pyrite. Oceans are the largest reservoir of sulfur. Around 2.6 grams per liter of sulfates are present in the oceans in addition to the dissolved hydrogen sulfide gas and elemental sulfur. Atmosphere is another source of sulfur, that is sulfur dioxide, ammonium sulfate and sulfate particles, hydrogen sulfide gas, etc. The biogeochemical cycle of sulfur consists of two components, the terrestrial and atmospheric component. Sulfur cycle between air, water and soil and living organisms. Weathering of rocks release the sulfur stored in the earth's crust. In addition to weathering, the sulfur from the earth's crust is also released through volcanic eruptions. Sulfur dioxide and hydrogen sulfide gas is released from the active volcanoes. The organic matter in marshes, tidal flats, bogs, wetlands emit sulfur in the gaseous form, that is H2S. Sea spray, forest fires and dust storms are also the sources of sulfate salts, ammonium sulfate, in the atmosphere. To summarize, sulfur enters the atmosphere from the land through the four routes, namely volcanic activity, soil dust, industrial activity and sulfur reducing bacteria activity. Disulfomonas is the example of sulfur reducing bacteria which will reduce sulfur to H2S. Special group of bacteria, the photosynthetic green and purple sulfur bacteria and some chemolithotrophs oxidize H2S, that is hydrogen sulfide, to provide elementary sulfur. Oceans act as another major contributor of sulfur to the atmosphere. Aerosols of seawater, deep sea hydrothermal vents, dimethyl sulfide gas produced by the marine algae are the routes of sulfur entry to the atmosphere. In the atmosphere, dimethyl sulfide droplets act as nuclei for the condensation of water in the clouds, thereby playing a major role in cloud cover and climate change. Dimethyl sulfide is finally converted to sulfur dioxide in the atmosphere. The sulfur dioxide, when it comes in contact with air, gets oxidized to form sulfur trioxide. Similarly, the hydrogen sulfide combines with the oxygen to form sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide. The oxides of sulfur react with water droplets in the atmosphere to form droplets of sulfuric acid. The ammonia present in the atmosphere also reacts with the sulfuric acid to form ammonium sulfate salts. The droplets of sulfuric acid and ammonium sulfate salts reaches the earth as acid deposition, which is harmful to plants, animals and human beings. Moreover, it changes the soil pH and acidifies the lakes in addition to chemical weathering of buildings. The sulfur once again gets accumulated in the sediments of oceans, lakes and reservoirs. The sulfur combines with iron to form ferrous sulfide and gives a black color to the ocean sediments. Sulfur is an important constituent of the amino acid, cysteine and methionine and proteins. Only few organisms utilize organic sulfur via amino acids. Rest assimilates sulfur in the inorganic form, the sulfate ions. Plant assimilates sulfate and from them sulfur enters into the animals via the food chain. Death and decay of organisms releases the sulfur back to environment. Bacteria reduce sulfur and obtain energy both in the presence and absence of oxygen and other terminal electron acceptors. Sulfur reducing bacteria are extremophiles belonging to domain Archaea. They live in hydrothermal vents and hot springs. Sulfate reduction can be assimilatory and dissimilatory. Sulfate is reduced to organic sulfhydryl groups is assimilatory pathway, and desulfurization of sulfhydryl groups to hydrogen sulfide is the dissimilatory pathway. Okay, now the impact of anthropogenic activities to the sulfur cycle. मतलब what are the human activities which alter the sulfur cycle of nature? Similar to the other biogeochemical cycles, the sulfur cycle is also altered by the human activities. Some of them are mentioned below. Burning of fossil fuels such as coal and oil results in release of oxides of sulfur. Refining of petroleum products adds sulfur to the atmosphere. Purification of sulfur containing metallic ores also releases sulfur dioxide to the atmosphere. ओके, थैंक यू सो मच। जो भी ये बायोजियोकेमिकल साइकिल्स थे उनको मैंने पॉइंट वाइज आपको एक्सप्लेन किया है, और फिर भी आपको कोई डाउट्स हो तो यू कैन आस्क मी डायरेक्टली। थैंक यू।